Well, welcome back to another video. So I flew on TAP Air Portugal for the very first time, and let me tell you, this airline definitely has some quirks you should know about before you book. In this video, I'm breaking down my full experience flying transatlantic from Dulles to Lisbon and also taking a short haul between Lisbon and Barcelona within Europe. Plus, I'll walk you through the TAP Stopover program, which lets you explore Lisbon or Porto for a few days at no extra cost. Sounds great? All right, let's see if it's worth it. Stick around to find out if I loved it or if I didn't, and if I will fly TAP again, because Sintra still has my name on it. Okay, let's go. So you're ready to book your trip on Air Portugal, and so you go to the website and you're wondering how does this whole works. It's pretty simple. I found their website to be quite intuitive and it was easy to navigate. So we're just gonna do a quick test. I traveled from Dallas, and since we were going to Barcelona, that's what I put in. I chose my dates and I'm just using around the same rough dates that we did the last time. And so then let's say two adults and we want to search for flights. Now, when you get to this, when you're searching for the flights, it immediately would ask you, because of the duration of your trip, do you want to do a stopover? Absolutely. You can do either before or after. You can do it from Lisbon or Porto, and it asks you, do you want to do it in the front end of your trip or at the back end of your trip? And the most amazing thing is you can do up to 10 nights. Now, do not stay past 10 nights because your flight will be expired. So you can choose how many nights you want to stay. So let's say 4 nights, and we're stopping at Lisbon, and we're doing it on the front end because we have a cruise on the other end. So you want to confirm your stopover. And this is where it gets a little bit tricky if you don't pay attention to the different fares. I automatically would go in and tell it exactly what I want because it will give you the discount fares. Now, if you're traveling without a check luggage, if you're just traveling with a small suitcase, or if you're traveling with a carry on, that's fine as long as it's within their baggage guidelines. But let's say you want to check a bag, you can immediately go in here and tell it that you want the economy only or the executive. If you want to fly like that, by all means. I did economy and I automatically said that I want a check-up bag so that the fare would immediately change from discount to basic, because the basic has the checked baggage fee already into it, factored into it. So then you just check for what time works for you. From my airport, there's a direct flight from Washington Dulles to Lisbon. It's a 7 hour overnight flight. The flight was pretty much on time, so you know, I they do have a bad rap for being late, but I didn't have any issues with that. So let's say we're gonna choose this. Now, the thing that I found is some of the fares on here on the website totally different if you call it in, because I wanted something specific, but then it had an option that I didn't like, and it will not let me change it. Because look at what they're doing. They choose your fly out the day you fly out, you're staying in Lisbon, and then when you fly from Lisbon to Barcelona, and then from when you fly from Barcelona back to Dulles. Lisbon to when you get to Barcelona, pay attention to that because you see this is an overnight flight. So if you want something that is not overnight, you have to filter again and tell it that you don't want overnight, and you have to just keep going down because they have so many different options. This is where you take your time and make sure that you grab the one that works for your budget, because you see those prices, right? And But keep in mind, this is for two people, and the one that works for your time schedule, because you don't want to end up, if you have, you know, time restriction in Barcelona, you don't want to leave Lisbon so late and get to Barcelona in like 1:30 or something in the morning. So just pay attention to that. They will play around with the dates, with the times when you leave dollars and all of that. So you just have to keep searching. When I was booking mine, I would just completely sign out and try to come back. And I even did call to try to get one that was exactly the way that I wanted it, but they would not book it online over the phone with the price that I wanted. So I just waited a couple of days and it resets itself. So the website is pretty simple. So let's say you want this one. Excuse me. You see the price breakdown, and you can add a discount. It won't let you do it unless you log in. But couple of things. When you're doing the stopover, you can get a discount on a Lisbon card that you grab when you get to the airport in Lisbon. You buy that at a discounted rate that gives you discounted rates to museums, it gives you free entry. So I would say you need at least a good 3 to 4 day stopover, unless if you have the time and just do more. Okay, so you get to the airport, the whole 3 to 4 hours before your flight takes off for international, be there. This is one of the quirks. So you get to the airport, Air Portugal will not have anyone at their desk until I think it was like an hour and a half before the flight. You could see this line was long. My suitcase came in handy because it was my bench, and I'll just move along with the bench. Now, when they did open up, it moved really fast, really fast. So if you're not in that long line, and when they get to the end of that line, you might be SOL. They do check your bags to make sure that the weight is what it's supposed to be. And before you know it, the plane was there. The same staff that checks you in is the same staff that will check you on the plane. So that's why they will not have anyone after a certain time. I just went ahead and checked all my bags in because I had already paid for it, and my husband was checking a bag in. Next thing you know, we are boarding the plane. It was an easy process. So leaving from Dallas, or I'm gonna say the States, might be easier than if you are within Europe. The planes are, they have two separate ones. So this was the A31LR Neo. The seats were comfortable. They had the headrest. You could see the leg room was not bad for my size. They do give you a pillow and a blanket, and it's a fold down tray. This is after I've wiped it, by the way, because I always wipe. They do have the little hooks for your coat that you could see my jacket is hanging on. And, it's a comfortable flight. Is it the most spacious? No. I don't think they claim to be, but this particular one had, what are those? The USB charging, it had the screen. The other ones that we did within the EU do not have the screen. But yep, they do the safety briefing right on the screen with the air hostess and the flight attendants showing you. But it's a pretty intuitive system. They do, you could check in and it does welcome you by name, which I was totally impressed with. And it leaves messages for you, and you could choose if they had options on what your meal would be. Speaking of meals, we had two on this particular one because it was an overnight. The first one, my husband had, I forgot, some kind of meat, braised beef, and I had the stuffed pasta, is what they called it, but it looked just like a like a cheese stuffed pasta. The flavor wasn't bad, and since I could not have the meat, um, I ate the cheesecake. The cheesecake and the salad were really good, and then I had some juice and some water, and the bread I did not eat because it's just cold bread. But not a bad meal for economy. I think it was rather okay. It was nice and hot. If you want gourmet, this is not it. Okay. I had some alcohol. I didn't finish it because long flight. I mean, I could sleep. I used my foot hammock. I saw someone else use it, and I slept like a baby. And then it was breakfast time. So this was like a cheese and a ham sandwich. I don't do ham, so I didn't eat that. So I don't know what that tasted like. But I did have those, and that's just generic like they normally have here. And I had some coffee, and that just made me even more sleepy. I should have stuck to my tea. But that is breakfast. Nothing fancy, nothing to write home about. If you were banking on that breakfast, again, not it. You are in economy. But overall, the flight to Lisbon was comfortable. It was quick because I slept a lot. And we arrived very early so that we have the rest of the day to do whatever we wanted to do. Now, Lisbon Airport. We went through security, we went through customs, and we went to get our bags. And that particular suitcase was in the wrong carousel completely from everything else. But we picked up our Lisboa card and we hit the town running. And we had all the things that we wanted. Pastel de nata was our very first thing after dropping our bags off at the hotel. Now they do have some hotels that partner with the Stopover program that you can get a discounted fare, but those are closer to the airport. If you want to be closer to you know, where everything is happening and it's easier to get around, I would say don't use one of those. But if you want a discount, by all means, go ahead. Um, Stopover program, do I love it? Yes. Thumbs up. Would I do it again? Absolutely. And we will talk about transferring from Lisbon to Barcelona in a little bit. But these are just some images that I'm sharing from our quick time in Lisbon. Now, as you can see by this smile, I was ready for the airport, and this is us leaving from Lisbon to go to Barcelona. So this is the inter-regional air. The exact same bag. They have you put it on these belts, and that's what weighs the bag, and then it goes through. And this is where the problem happened because the bags were shown overweight. Now, when we got there, more than enough time to do this process. We saw a long line. We were like, we're not going to stand at the line. We'll just do this. Stand in the line. Because if you've already paid for your flight from the US to here, there's no need for you to go to the belt. Anyway, after about 20 minutes, we were able to get on the plane. This is a smaller plane, so there's two and two seats and not the three seats. So this is two and two. There's no entertainment. There's no snacks. There's no drinks. There's nothing. Just get on the plane, and an hour later, you are in Barcelona. So don't expect comfort. The seats were quite uncomfortable, if you ask me, but just have a backrest. Anyway, so now we're on our way back from Barcelona. We've had a fun trip. We are off the cruise. I was optimistic and I was living it up. We went, the check in was fine. It's all the way at the end in Barcelona. Went through security, still feeling pretty good. And then we went through the regional fair airline from Barcelona to Lisbon. It was late and we had a connecting that we had to make to get to Dulles. So, as you can see, my husband is working walking very fast. We had to go through security. I had no, I had an inkling that the flight might be delayed from Barcelona to Lisbon, so I purchased a fast track that I did not even had to use because there was no one else in the security line. So we kind of went through a security line rather fast, but then we still had to hustle to make that flight. If you can hear me talking here, I'm just like, oh my God, I'm so out of breath. I was not prepared. After eating all that food on all this trip, I was bit. So, anyway, you get down there, and all these people all scattered. We're a little confused on which side to go. You think this is the line, but this was not the line. So I just told him to wait here while I went to the other line that was further down. And I had to use the bathroom, and the bathroom is right here on the right hand side. So I get to this line, and the gentleman is like, "Oh, you made it. We were waiting for you." I said, "Well, can I use the bathroom?" And he's like, "Sure." And I did not trust him. And I'm glad I didn't trust him because, anyway, so he finally, someone else came in and said, please go use the bathroom because the plane is a tarmac plane. So it's not like, there's a jet bridge right there. So we had to shuttle over to it, which is like a 12-minute ride. And then you have to get on the plane. So here I'm like, are you sure we can go to the bathroom? We went to the bathroom, got on on the bus because the bus was waiting, obviously, because they knew that there were two people missing. That was us. Actually four, because there was another mom and daughter. Anyway, we made the bus and we got there. We made the flight, and the plane was the same as the one that we took from Dulles to Lisbon, so no need to show the same thing. But then I will show what the um, lunch was, which I got another pasta dish because meat, red meat. I think this was beef. And I probably have like my husband's picture somewhere of what he ate, but I don't have it. But yeah, so couple of things. You see, you have to carry your luggage up the steps. So as tired as we were after rushing for the plane, imagine if I had to lift a suitcase. And I'm typically a carry-on traveler, but I was so happy that I didn't have it because I bought that basic fare. So I just checked both my carry-on and my suitcase because they will let you check the carry-on for free. So I didn't have to pay for that. But I was glad that I didn't have to then lug it up the stairs because I was so exhausted. I was so exhausted. Anyway, I had to take my mask off for a minute because I was so exhausted. Whew, I was so glad to get on that plane, and I slept like a baby on the way back. Anyway, so I think I will fly Air Portugal. I know that I can carry my regular backpack because that was the one thing I kept going back and forth about which backpack to take with me. So I know that I will take my regular backpack because people had bigger backpacks than I did. I ended up taking like my sling bag, and I didn't like that because I like my backpack. So, yes, you can fly Air Portugal, but remember that um, check the size of your luggage, check the weight, and if you're doing a stopover, don't go to the regular the automated machines. Go to there's always one person that's like checking your luggage in. Go to that section instead and have them check your bag in, because you've done a transatlantic, so you kind of get away with a little bit of weight than trying to get that machine and frustrate yourself with a machine. Anyway, so this is my lunch. The um, pasta was actually very good, and desserts are their things. Anyway, I hope this video was helpful. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and I'll see you at the next one. Bye.